Hello everyone, welcome back to the third video in the series on Yang data modeling. In this video, we are going to cover the modules and data nodes topic in Yang. I will begin by describing the structure of modules and data nodes in Yang. I will then move on to describing the different types of data nodes that are available. This will be followed by a real example of each type of these data nodes. The session will conclude by describing a property of these data nodes, namely configuration and state. A system can support multiple Yang modules. As we have seen so far, modules can interact with each other. Module 2 can import elements from module 1 and use it. If you look at the structure of a module, it can contain the following. It can contain data nodes by itself. It can contain other submodules, and each of these submodules can in turn contain several data nodes. A system is a combination of all these modules interacting with each other, providing a complete data model for whatever functionality that is offered by a particular networking device. We will now look at the different types of data nodes that are available in Yang. The first simple node is called a leaf. As we know, Yang is a hierarchical structure which can be represented in the form of a tree, and leaf in terms of a tree structure is the simplest node that is available. The next type is called a leaf list. This is nothing but a repetition of the primitive type leaf. It consists of a set of elements of the same data type. For example, a set of names, a set of numbers, or any other similar thing wherein the only condition is all of the elements in this list are of the same type. In terms of programming, the equivalent is an array. For example, if it is an integer array, it can hold a set of integer. If it is a character array, it can hold a set of characters, and so on. The third type of data node is called a container. The name and the purpose is very similar to a real world physical container. A container can be used to store different things together. For example, you have a stationery box at your home where you have pencils, pens, erasers, ink, etc. As you can see, the box is containing different types of objects in it. Similarly, in Yang, you can use a container to group a set of elements and store it together. You can store a number, name, an IP address, port number, all of it in one place. That is why it is called a container. The final type of data node is called a list. A list is equivalent to a database record. Every row in this list is identified uniquely with one or more keys, and each row can contain different types of elements, numbers, characters, another container, and so on. This will be very useful when you want to have a database in a device that you are representing using the Yang data model. Let us now see real examples of each one of these data node types. We will start with a leaf. The example you see here is for a very simple mobile number. Here we are describing the mobile number as a 64-bit unsigned integer. As you know, a mobile number can be 10 or 11 digits. So describing it as a unsigned integer of 64 bits is one form of representation. If a device supports this leaf in its data model, using the Netcraft management protocol, the value of this leaf can be changed to store a particular mobile number. Let us move on to the next type, which is a leaf list. As I just described, a leaf list is just a list of values of the same type. Taking another mobile phone related example, if we have to list the mobile phone numbers from which we received calls. We could call it as a received call logs and just make it as a leaf list. So if one mobile phone number is a leaf, a list of mobile phone numbers can be described as a leaf list. So to summarize, a leaf defines a scalar of a particular type. A leaf list provides a list of values of a particular type. They can be either a built-in type or a derived type. In the course introductory video, we saw briefly what a built-in and derived type is. Later in the video series, we will cover the topic of how to define derived types based on built-in types. The leaf can also be mandatory or optional. For example, if a leaf is part of a list, it is not always required that the leaf must have a value. If a leaf is a key, then it must have a value. Leaves which are not keys can also be specified in the model to ensure that when a configuration of the list is done, the value for the leaf must definitely be provided. If this is not mandatory, then the language provides a way to define a default value, meaning when an instance of the record in this list is created, the system can use this default value to populate this leaf when the record is created. I will now explain what a container is and how it should be defined. For this, we take an example of an address. For example, in your mobile phone, you have a contact book where you can define the address of your contacts. So an address normally is a combination of different things. It has a street name, door number, zip code, etc. So here I am giving two examples of containers. The first container is the address. Here, as you can see, it contains two leaves. One is a street name and other is a door number. One is of type string and the other is of type integer. Now we define contact as a bigger container which contains the mobile number and then the address. As you would remember from the classification tree we saw earlier in this video, a container can contain different types of data nodes. Here you see the example for it. It contains a leaf which is a 64-bit unsigned integer, that is the mobile number, and it is holding another container itself. An equivalent example in networking would be a socket. An IP address and a port number together, whenever used, can be represented as a container, with one field being the IP address and the other field being a port number. The last data node type that we will see here is the list. As briefly explained earlier, each row in the list has a key. To explain this, I take an example of Wi-Fi. Each Wi-Fi hotspot is identified uniquely by its SSID. So here in this list, I define the key as the SSID and I make it a string. Other than that, I am defining a few related parameters for a Wi-Fi point, namely the protocol, what type of security that you are using, the channel number that gets used. The list can go on, but for explanation purpose, we will stop here. So whenever an entry in this list is created, it is mandatory to know the SSID. With this, we identify each instance of Wi-Fi hotspot or the Wi-Fi point to which a particular device may be connecting. And a device supporting this list in its data model can store this as a database and return it on request. The final topic is about the configuration and state of data nodes in a YANG data model. The purpose of this configuration and state is to tell the device whether a particular data node is modifiable by configuration or not. Let us take again a mobile phone related example. If a contact is created by the user, it means the mobile phone number of the contact has to be explicitly configured by the person entering it into the address book. So this is what we call as configuration true. Yang has a statement called config statement to do this purpose. You see the example here. You say leave mobile number and you mention config as true. By default, it is not required to mention this config statement. The default value assumed by Yang is true. Now let us move to what is called as a state information. In your mobile phone, the battery level is not something you can manually enter. It depends on what is the actual battery charge level that is available depending on when you last charged it and how much you have used it. So this is a status information. The device is telling you the status of the battery depending on the usage. It is not something you can enter and say battery level is now 95%, 98%. No. The only way the battery level can change is you actually plug in the device to the power socket and the state of the battery must be determined and changed by the system. So this is the fundamental difference between configuration and state. An information that can be modified at will by the person configuring and using the device, and an information which cannot be modified but rather determined by the system on its own, and it is purely available for the person using the device as an information. To conclude, the properties of the config statement are as follows. It acts as a change control mechanism based on the Boolean argument that is provided. If true, change is allowed. If false, change is not allowed. A data node can derive the value of this configuration state from its parent. If a child node has to have a different type of value from its parent, there are certain rules associated with it. We will not cover that here. We will see that in later sessions. But by default, a child node derives the value for its configuration or state from its parent. Finally, this also determines whether a data node gets into the data store of a device supporting a Yang data model. A data store is nothing but a collection of all the leaves or data nodes for which configuration is true. When a value is set for these data nodes, this is stored in the data store and can be retrieved later for restoration and usage. With that, we come to the end of this session on modules and data nodes. Thank you for watching it. Do share your comments. Looking forward to having you back for the next video in this series. Bye-bye.